therefore really drive economic growth and development according to our studies. Obviously, science and technology, and the university has made it important with Brooklyn Poly. The new applied sciences campus is leveraging that. That's really critical. Business and management, critical contributors to regional wealth and economic growth and wages and productivity. Arts, culture, design, and entertainment is one of the top three. The Metro's LQ in arts, design, culture, and entertainment is 2. Let's take a look at Manhattan. Manhattan's LQ in finance and management, looking at occupations, is 1.7. Its location quotient in arts, design, culture, and entertainment is 3. Almost double. You know what the leading sector, occupational sector in Brooklyn is? Guess what? Arts, design, culture, and entertainment. You know what the leading one in Queens is? The same. If you begin, and we are looking at this, at the transformation of Lower Manhattan. I asked Jane Jacobs this question before she died. She became a dear friend. I said to Jane, what do you think about gentrification in Lower Manhattan? What do you think about what's happening in Lower Manhattan and Soho and around the NYU campus? And she said, oh, what, yeah, I understand that, the shops and the chains, and I don't, yeah, they're not that great. She said, but New York's a big place. And she said, when a place gets boring, even the rich people leave. And then you get this expansion. And what's happened, I believe, that's leveraged Lower Manhattan isn't just Wall Street and the financial sector. It was this safety valve, if you will. This collection of old, underutilized, now utilized space in Brooklyn and Queens, connected by subways, and also close to where I grew up and where my brother now lives, in Hoboken. New York, the Metro, has about 3 million workers in what I call the creative class. Science, technology, arts, culture, entertainment, business, and finance. That compared to about 33% in the US as a whole. Manhattan, the city, Manhattan, has 50%. When we look and zoom in, and I'll be writing more about this, at the census tracts that compose not just the city but the metro area, all of the census tracts that compose this great metro area. If you look at the areas around this university, in Lower Manhattan, in the adjacent parts of Brooklyn, in Hoboken and Jersey City, the creative economy currently composes more than 80%. More than 80% of all these occupations. This is a broad, diverse economy, and in fact, when we look at London, or we look at Toronto, you could even factor in Shanghai. When you look at the world's Tokyo, Seoul, Paris, when you look at the world's most successful global cities, you see something, LA as well, very unique happening. These cities are focused on a set of occupational sectors, on a talent mix that has finance as one of them, but has media, entertainment, arts, and culture at the cutting edge. What are these? These are not only creative and idea-driven, they are very fast-moving, fast metabolizing sectors. They benefit not only for size, and an important essay I wrote with a couple of colleagues at the University of Toronto, and one in Sweden. We looked at the arts and culture mix and found that they not only benefit from scale economies, they benefit powerfully from what we call scope economies. And Bill Baum here is one of the fathers of this field. Scope economies are where you have a set of related inputs and assets and capacities that a pool of industries and people draw on and enable you to move very, very quickly in addition to having scale. So the first factor underpinning this, which is biased in favor of New York, is the shift to a creative economy. Just a quick background. A knowledge-driven creative economy. This shift that we are going through from the industrial economy to the creative economy that's been percolating now for 2 or 3 decades, that we've all been trying to wrap our arms around, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest shift in the nature of our economy in world history. Marx wrote about the shift from an agricultural to an industrial economy. He wrote about how disruptive, how painful that was, the rise of the working class, the class conflicts that moved through Europe, the Great Depressions. Later we had the crises I mentioned. World wars fought over this. The shift from an industrial economy to this creative and knowledge-driven economy is even bigger. It's even bigger than that, because all of human history before us, we generated our wealth through two key assets. One, we were located around natural resources and raw materials, iron ore, coal, before that, fertile soil. We developed agriculture, we traded around ports, we developed these big industrial centers. And then, in the Industrial Revolution, we added technology and capital. But the primary drivers of wealth were land, labor, and capital, physical resources, brains, backs, arms, and brawn. This time, we're changing the key factor input. We're moving from an industrial economy, where physical labor and raw materials were the key asset, to a knowledge-driven economy. And I just want to spend a minute on this.